We need a catchphrase.
I'm gonna defer to our guest. He said he brought one.
Our guest Kang.
We just started.
Oh, okay. Cool.
What catchphrase idea did you come with?
Okay, all right. All right. So I wanted it to be comic, like comic reference.
Yeah.
But a little bit catchy, and then also reference the show. So it's a pod, it's a cast, it's dumb comic creators.
Wait a second. Say it again. Say it again.
Like this.
So we say dumb comic creators. Now say the catchphrase.
It's a pod, it's a cast, it's dumb comic creators. It's more in the inflection, it's like it's a bird.
It's a bird. He's still on the Superman. It's a bird. It's a plane.
It really needs a bed of like the music and then like a couple different voices. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, look, it's
dumb comic creators.
I forgot it, but yeah.
But so it'd be like, it's a pod. No, it's a cast.
Yeah.
No, it's dumb
comic creators, and then you get everyone to say it at the same time.
That's a good way to say the title, but then I still feel like we need a catchphrase.
That'll be $200, please.
No.
All right.
No.
So because we don't have $200, we'll have to pass on that catchphrase.
Well, I'll gratis just for doing it.
I don't like it. I think it's a title. I don't even think it's a real catchphrase.
Are you just upset because you didn't come up with the greatest catchphrase of all time?
No, I'm just upset.
I think Keegan sounds jealous.
It's just
I'm
a title.
Sorry. I didn't mean to.
Keegan,
don't need to be
insecure.
Okay, all right, guest. This is our time. Okay. So thank you for your contribution.
I haven't even been introduced.
I'm taking our time back. I'm taking our time back. Okay. We did start.
Go ahead.
But now we're gonna continue.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Okay.
Please do.
We don't need your permission. It's our podcast, but go ahead, Eric.
I like it. It's catchy.
It's a title.
The cast.
Fine. Pay him $200.
I don't have that much money.
All right, let's continue then.
We can do a plan.
Hold on, guest. Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
get to you in a second. All right. Eric.
Keegan.
Go on.
So my name is Eric Schwartz. What's your name?
Keegan Shiner.
And what are we?
I don't know. It's a pod.
It's a cast.
It's dumb comic creators.
So we are.
That's
good.
That's a title. Yeah, that's a title. Yeah. We just said the title, Eric. You don't need to say, and so we are after that.
I just want to make sure people understand, our listeners, our intelligent listeners.
I'm so upset.
Hey, as a writer, I always hear it's tell, not show. So
you know what? You know what we never do in these intros? We never say what the point of our show is. And I actually listened to a podcast. I'd never listened to one before, but a different podcast. And other people say what their show is for. Do you want to give it a crack?
All right, I got this.
Guest?
Hey there, listeners.
I was asking the guest.
What?
Oh, I mean, I've never answered to that. I'm sorry.
Well, we haven't introduced you, so I don't want to call you by your name.
I feel like I've upstaged you too much already in this intro here.
It's okay. It was a trick question.
We're racking up some credit on this writing this intro thing.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Eric, you take it away.
Hello, listeners. Are you interested in writing comic books, but don't know where to go? Well, we have the podcast for you.
Just writing comic books?
Or drawing, or producing, or making your own podcasts.
Good. That's good stuff.
We here at the Dumb Comic Creators will interview some great new comic creators and discover how they got started in the business, their writing process, their thought process.
I don't know why, but I don't believe you.
All those tidbits that you have been.
I don't believe a single thing you're saying. Say it like that's what we actually do.
Okay.
Are you editing? Is this all staying in?
This
This
is
is
all.
all.
This is all will stay in. This is how we do it.
Okay, all right. I'm
Okay.
being good.
So Dumb Comic Creators, what this podcast is about.
Yes. What is it?
The Wikipedia page.
Oh God. There is no Wikipedia page.
Fine.
Hold on, I'm starting it right now.
Give Wikipedia something to write down, Eric. Go.
Okay. The podcast about two guys who
Nope.
talk about.
It's about us. It's not about us.
Fine. It's a
Is
podcast.
it about us? It's kind of about us.
It's a podcast hosted by two guys.
This was a bad idea. Let's move on. Who's our guest today, Eric?
Taylor Kine.
You did that on purpose.
It's not his name.
Taylor King.
Taylor what?
Hi guys. Hey.
King. Like the
Yeah.
People
character, the character from Tekken.
Am I in Tekken?
Yeah, there's a character named King in Tekken.
Oh, I
Is
see.
there a character named Taylor?
That was gonna be a wild synchronicity. Right?
Were you named after the Taylor, that actor in Friday Night Lights?
I don't no.
Taylor Kitsch?
I know we're supposed to, yes and, but no.
No, you don't need to. No, don't yes.
So
and
like
us.
guidelines and actual rules.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
just you give us truth, and we'll give you comedy.
Fiction. Oh, okay, all right. No, I wasn't.
Okay, but you are from Texas.
Yes,
Cool,
I am.
cool,
Oh,
cool.
I guess that is a thing. I forget that show's about football because I never watched that.
I've never watched it either.
I write a comic book instead. So
You've never seen Friday Night Lights, either of you?
I've seen maybe like commercials for it.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. You guys have never heard that?
Clear eyes isn't that like stuff you put for your
I
glasses?
honestly thought you were doing an ad at the very.
That's where they got that from. They got it
couplet.
from the show. It's so motivational. They stole it for
Wow.
contact lenses.
The glasses stuff was they stole from the show.
Boy, CW. It's CW that did that. Who did that?
Ooh.
Or-
I think it was ABC or someone.
Ah,
It was really good. Anyway,
I've
you don't even
heard
need to.
rave reviews.
You don't even need to like football. It's just a soap opera that.
teen
Yeah.
sex drama.
I mean,
Right.
it gets crazy.
Yeah.
They kill a guy.
Have you ever seen Riverdale? Like the new Riverdale?
Yeah, it's
show?
just like Riverdale.
I have seen
Wow.
Riverdale.
just plus football.
Yeah, I guess so.
But Riverdale is more comics related.
yeah,
In fact, there even is an Archie comic.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's not very many football comics. I don't know any.
I
Actually.
don't know of any.
Any football
don't-
comics?
I'm
Football
actually
comics?
fairly I'm fairly new to the world of comics, just to tie it, tie it
Okay,
back.
okay.
But
Tie it back to this is a podcast about you.
no.
This interview
Comics.
is about you.
Comics.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And creators of them. I forgot where that was going.
That's okay. So Taylor, you wrote a comic recently. Is this your
Uh-huh.
first comic that you've written?
It is, and now I've written my second. So we have the second one in production right now.
Oh, cool.
Actually.
Of the same series?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're doing it started out as a one shot. We were just going to do that, and then the story just sort of like expanded, and now we're doing a 6 series and hopefully make it a trade later on.
Wow, cool.
But we're kind of doing the whole. Ben is like editor producer
Okay.
for making all of the behind the scenes stuff happen, which is super awesome for me. But we're doing each issue, like we're doing the whole Kickstarter campaign for each one, and then hopefully find somewhere to do a trade
Oh,
for
cool.
all 6 later on, which would be, that's the ideal.
Yeah. Do you guys, are you all friends or did
We
you
are
meet?
all friends here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you live? What part of Texas?
Yeah. So Ben and I are good buds before we started this even.
Okay.
We live in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
He more than I have been sort of involved in the music community in Dallas and Fort Worth for a while, and like we just kind of know each other from that. He's owned an audio recording studio
Oh, cool.
for a number of years in Fort Worth, and a bunch of Fort Worth folks would know about that green audio, and so we were just hanging out like right at the beginning of COVID and everything, like in March.
Oh, yeah.
And he was kind of talking to me about wanting to get into producing comics, and that he was working on a script adapting a novel. I think it's called The Unnoticeables.
Okay.
Into a comic. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Well, I'm going to go out and make a comic called whatever that was.
I'm going to make a comic called The Noticeables. And so it'll be the opposite of yours.
Okay, good. There we go. I think he would be okay with a competitor. And I was like, whoa, that sounds cool. I've got a lot of time on my hands, it seems, nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually an artist by day job.
Oh, really?
I restore antique artwork.
Oh, cool.
That's my day job, like frames and
oil paintings and
oil paintings.
Oh, wow.
I mean, pretty much anything people bring in. We get a lot of stuff like somebody dies and it's like they've left behind all these paintings that they did or and be all cleaned and whatever. Sometimes I get cooler stuff that's been around for a while, like a 400-year-old frame or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I was like, I've been staying home, since everything kind of started.
Yeah.
And working at home. And so I had all this time, and I also write. Like that's just, I have a humanities degree. So it's just sort of like all around. It was really hard they made me like pick one. It was super hard to pick one. It's like, can I just do all of them? And now I've figured out a way where
you can do all of them.
I can do all of them.
Yeah.
So
I think that's healthier too.
I can just picture you Taylor's going to your guidance counselor, like, why can't I just study everything? Come on.
It makes more sense to be well-rounded than to be specific and in something that nobody is really hiring for,
Well, I always liked the idea of that anyway. Being a big reader when I was a kid, I always loved reading about Leonardo and these guys who, the Renaissance men, where they did everything.
Yeah.
But they also had like an old banking family to give them a place to live.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice. I don't know. Maybe someday. But
Marry rich.
So so I had an idea for a sci-fi story, being a sci-fi boy.
Cool.
And we just
it's called
from there.
Glurk and Bo. Is that right? Okay.
Glurk and Bo Meet an Angel of Death is the subtitle.
Okay. They have a catchphrase for their comic book, Eric.
They're a step ahead of us.
Is it a catchphrase or just a subtitle?
Subtitle? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's not really a catchphrase.
We'll have 1 and then 2. Haunting at Titan Station is number 2.
Subtitle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like doing that. I mean, it just kind of like, the classic. Grew up watching like Star Wars trilogy and stuff.
Yeah,
It just feels like that's how you're supposed to name stories.
For sci-fi. Yeah, especially it's kind of like an episode of your show. Yeah.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I got
Star Trek,
some
Deep Space Nine.
Aliens vibe in it. Also, what was that Chris Pratt film, like where Passengers? I got some Passengers.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that either, but the whole point is like they're like
there's also Event Horizon.
Oh, there's a lot of Event Horizon that too. Like, not spoiler, but the villain, the bad guy, reminds me very much of the Event Horizon kind of bad guy. That like he's bigger than the universe.
Wait, have you seen Aniara?
No.
No.
Everyone go watch Aniara.
How do you
This is
spell that? Is it
A
like
Aniara, and it's on Hulu for free if you have Hulu. And it's this
nice.
like really crazy movie from Denmark and Sweden. And it's in English too, some of it, and but some of it, I guess, it's hard to know because
yeah. Okay, I see.
it's
just
so
reading
so
that
good.
log line.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. It's really weird and dark, but yeah, I just since we were throwing out sci-fi movies, that's a recent one that I've seen that really blew me
this
away.
one is really prescient. Not to, I'm not spoiling the whole series. I think with this, but we end up destroying the Earth.
Oh, cool!
As well,
I love when that happens. Yeah, that's great.
Just
so,
like, what is the biggest climax you can do?
Hey, it worked in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, so it's gonna work now.
Yeah.
So you and Ben got together and you started writing this book, and then how did you find Tom Hoskison?
Hoskison, yeah, Tom Hoskison. Well, Ben took the reins on finding artists, and I just, would do approvals and whatever.
Oh, cool.
We went on Reddit, and I guess we found Tom first, just looking for people, and we had just like a writing prompt that I had written or he had written down.
Oh, nice.
Just to prompt a test page, just to
how many pages? Just one?
Just one. I think it was like
Okay.
I think it was a splash or something.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to sort of and I think I wrote maybe a paragraph of just like a drawing prompt. And it was just like a astronaut floating in space, and he's seeing something horrific. And, we want the expression and all that kind of stuff. So we got back a bunch. I don't remember a whole lot. I'm sure there were other nice ones, but
yeah,
when we saw Tom's, it was like, that's the one. Just, he has really nice expression, and his line work is really, really nice and varied.
Right.
I was trying to think of ways to like describe his style. Really expressive and like very detail, but it feels minimal to me as well. Like, it doesn't feel too busy.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I agree.
If that makes sense. And so we had like that splash from Tom, and then we took that and put it out and looked for colorists that way as well. And we found Jimmy Greenhouse to do our colors. And so, and this is actually a globalist operation. Okay. So Ben and I are in Fort Worth, and Tom is down in Australia.
Oh, he's in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And Jimmy is in Poland.
Oh, cool.
He's an Englishman from Poland, or that's living in Poland now.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah. So Reddit, basically.
Like, yeah, Reddit is wonderful.
/ comic collabs, or stuff.
Yeah,
like
/comic collabs. That's how I found you, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Ben is a fire engine of a workhorse. I don't know what that means, but so yeah, he's always out there looking for opportunities and stuff to promote. Like, we're getting really close to doing our first Kickstarter campaign. And like, we have our website, bgcomics.com. I have to remember to say that a bunch of times.
BG, yeah, we'll say it a bunch.
We'll also link it at the end.
Yeah, it's in the show notes if anyone wants to visit. And on that site, you can see like a preview of issue 1.
That's right. Yeah.
Cleric and Bow.
And then you can also toss money for the Kickstarter, because that's going to be such a great comic.
Well, that doesn't start till November 1st. But if you're listening to this post,
that is a incepted into the
next week. I mean, it's next Sunday.
Yeah.
From when you're listening. If you listen to this first day, it's next Sunday.
Oh, cool. Good.
Okay. But since it's a podcast and there's no real time point and time and
This is
space that this is
eternal.
locked down on, yeah, it's like in the ether. And
Well, so I mean, but that's fine. We're actually doing so when to kick off our Kickstarter, we're doing a live stream event,
oh, cool.
which will feature some pre-taped skit info stuff, some live music from some Fort Worth buddies
Oh,
of
cool.
ours. So it's going to be a whole thing, and we're planning on doing a live stream on the 1st,
Great.
one on the 15th, and another on the 30th, I think the last day. So we're really trying to get back all the production costs for this book,
Yeah.
so we can like sort of feel I guess it's in the black for number 2, because we've already started number 2 really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll just kind of keep
Right.
doing it. So
Do you have any? You kind of touched on it briefly. Do you have any advice for new comic creators in general?
man,
You have the background in artistry, so you already have a leg up on, say, like me, for example, because I was a history and secondary ed major. I had no writing. I could tell you what happened in the past. I couldn't really write a new story, so to speak.
well, it is. I mean, I've kind of been, a lot of it is having been a reader, I think, for me personally. And I wrote like prose short stories when I was a kid. Um, I read like hard sci-fi, pretty early, like Clark and Asimov, Heinlein, and those guys. So most of my writing was prose, really.
Yeah.
I hadn't really done formatting. That's always the first thing that I think of now, because really I'm only, however many months ago March was, that's how long I've been writing comics. Like I've done sort of screenplay type stuff just for kind of fun, or like I don't know.
Any like full screenplays or just kind of like
just sort
side
of
projects,
little skits, or like if
Yeah.
I played in a couple bands, and so if we had like an idea for something like that.
Oh, cool.
Or for school, like I had creative writing courses and stuff.
Yeah.
But the formatting is the biggest part.
So can we see your script? Like
Yeah.
a page or two?
Let's see, how do we do that? Share screen.
Yeah, down at the
Yeah.
bottom.
So I basically just did a ton of research. Is that sharing? Oh, there we go.
Here it comes.
Ania. Aniara. Is that what that song is about?
I don't know. It's a really good film.
So so we have everything super organized. I wonder if I can do full screen on this. There we go. I looked up a bunch of formatting. So there's page 1. I looked up a bunch of formatting stuff, and tried, like, Ben's gonna tell me all the things I forgot to say. There's like, we looked up a bunch of like how to write a script and stuff like that.
Yeah. So had Tom drawn comics before?
Yes, he has done a bunch of work.
Okay.
I wish I knew a great link for him, but
so you were kind of passing off your first script to an artist, right?
Yes.
Did he come back at any point and like ask you for revisions, or had you like gotten it pretty close?
We did do a lot of collaboration, like especially for layouts. So I did a first draft and and actually my first draft was terrible. And he actually did come. That's a great question, because he actually did come back and was like, okay, you can't do this many motions in one panel.
Right.
You have to like give me sort of skeleton info of what you want, almost. Like I was listening to one of your episodes. We were kind of talking about, I think it was Eric was starting on something, and or doing a read through and sort of describing characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
We have separate documents for some of that.
Oh,
And
okay.
we had separate conversations about design and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So I did sort of come at it from a screenplay.
Okay.
But we also were just very collaborative on layouts and stuff. And so like this, it seems pretty basic, like exterior ship view small against the background of stars. Like
Right.
that's not very descriptive, but because I had seen his style by
Yeah.
that, it was sort of like, I'm going to trust him. Like I knew I liked it enough where it was like, I'm going to trust him to interpret exactly what he thinks. And even if he has questions, like, I'm an email
So,
away, but
so when you wrote ship, had you already talked to him about what kind of ship should be in the comic?
yeah,
Okay.
we had like a separate conversation about design aspects.
Okay.
Like we have there's the ship, and the only setting for number one is the ship. So it
Right.
was
Right.
really easy on that end of just like there's one setting,
One location.
one
Yeah.
location. There's a few different areas of the ship that we show.
Yeah.
And we had conversations about those, but in the script itself, I chose to keep it like really basic. Like panel 2, focusing on the front of the craft, getting a peek inside the control cabin, empty control seats. Like
I
just
mean, yeah, it's simple, right? But that's all that you really care is in the frame, right?
and
You, you
it's
just
kind of
wanted to show the front
describing,
and you want
right.
to make sure those empty seats are there. And that's all you need in that frame, right? That's the information that the reader needs to see. And then the artist can kind of like fill in what else needs to be there, you know?
Yeah, and if there's questions, I mean, I'm sure we had lots of conversations about specific stuff, but the process that we did was, we gave the script to Tom. He would take 4 pages at a time and do pencil layouts. And then we would say, okay,
Oh,
this is
okay.
cool, this is cool. And sometimes he would add panels, take them away, move around word bubbles and stuff. And I didn't have any direction on word bubbles or anything.
Oh, okay.
We got Tom to do art, we got Jimmy to do colors, a friend of Ben's, Tim, to do like graphic design for like credits page and stuff like that. We added like a letters page, fun stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And we have some fake ads
Yeah, I saw those. Those are cool.
interspersed between um and then Matt Kreutzer did our lettering. And so some of like the bubble choices were really like left up to those guys. Like we left it really collaborative. And I'm huge in that. Like Ben and I are both big in that. Like I think maybe it comes from like a music background of just sort of like knowing that you have to listen to everyone else just and sort of vibe with everyone.
Yeah.
And Ben and I really prefer that kind of a working relationship anyway.
That's interesting because I think that is a very valid way of making comics, right? It's sort of like a film production in that you're just the writer, you turn in the script, somebody else takes it and runs with it, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's a camera guy and he knows how to work the camera, you know, that he's the only one that's going to do that. And then the person lighting could be somebody else, like lighting the room in a specific way. And it's like a bunch of people working on one thing, you know. So that they do that in film all the time. The other way in comics is for one person to do everything, right? That's the other extreme, right? And that's valid too, because some people are just really gifted and talented, and it's not fair, and they can draw and do all of it themselves.
Well, and some of that comes from experience, you know.
Yeah.
It may be their 5th or 6th, so they have like a way of doing it, you know. But this kind of came about really organically because originally Ben wanted to write like a like we're still sort of planning. We have a larger universe connected from Glurk and Bow series
Oh, cool.
to like we're planning on doing a monthly book. So there's like a dual series universe paradox type thing we're working with. But this kind of came about organically to be our first project.
Yeah.
And the other one was going to be the first one, but because the story was as finished as it was, you know, as sort of simple as it was really easy to flesh it out. And it just kind of happened really fast. I think mostly because at first we planned on just doing the one shot.
Yeah.
But then it turned into sort of like 6 series, and it was like, I think we can just do 6 out of it.
Non-spoiler ending. The story ended in a way such that it could be either been self-contained or else could have been expanded massively. It ended in that way fairly well.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right there for sure. Yeah. Do you guys want to look at this a bit more? Yeah, so formatting. I found a script online for a Batman book, and I don't remember which one it was.
Okay.
But I think it was Killing Joke.
Okay.
And it just had really nice formatting. I'm kind of anal retentive probably. And so I really love just like super laid out, like really simple formatting, and we pretty much stick to it. Even
it took us to the dialogue. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have like a page, and then panel are bolded, and then the description is next to the panel, and then your dialogue is all cap for the name, and then colon with the dialogue, and it's indented with numbers.
Yeah. The numbering is for word balloons.
The lettering. Okay.
Yeah. So it was Tom suggested that. So we took like the numbering, I think, was from Tom because he had worked on a bunch of other people's stuff before, and they weren't numbered, and you have to like go back and stuff. And so we just took a lot of,
okay.
A lot of input from him. He was super
that's so interesting.
A huge part of this, just kind of because we were like, is there anything, because we gave him the first draft and it probably didn't look like this. I don't really even remember, but and he was like, can we work with this a little bit? And we were like, tell us what you need.
Yeah.
And so he was like, let's number these right here so we can keep track of which word balloon we're looking at. So that way this is like a master. So that way the colorist, the artist, and the letterer can look at that and all have the same information basically. But
interesting. Yeah. I've not numbered the word balloons before, but the rest is kind of similar to styles that I've used.
Yeah.
I usually put like a dash next to the page to show how many panels are on each page.
Huh.
Yeah, and I'm told that helps the artists when they're drafting the page. They know how many panels to put.
That makes sense.
Right away. Yeah.
I think I definitely left it more open because organically in the process, Tom was actually making a lot of drafting decisions.
Yeah.
Just sort of like,
yeah.
And less so on this second one, I think.
Okay.
Like changing as many like numbers of panels and stuff. In the first one there were definitely pages that would come back like totally different. And a lot of it was like, just because I didn't know, I would have like too many in one or something.
Yeah.
So
working with him my first comic, and I was doing sample pages, right? The first sample page was like, I had 12 12 panels. And I was like sending this to people to draw, right? And 12 panels is a lot of panels per page. It's like way too many panels.
Yeah. On the second one, I believe it was Matt Kreutzer, or no, Ben has been just consulting a bunch of editors and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And so he was on a 3-hour Zoom with someone they were talking apart about our first book, and just sort of basically the way Ben described it, like ripping it apart and just giving a bunch of feedback. And they were like seasoned guys who were just sort of like using their COVID time to help other creators.
Oh, cool.
And they had like a 12 and 12 rule. So 12 words per dialogue balloon, and then 12 balloons per page is sort of like a guideline. And that's what I used on the second one. And it really seems to flow.
Oh yeah. 12 word
nice.
balloons per page. Is that
Yeah.
what you mean? Oh, okay.
As like a maximum.
As a max, yeah.
Because I mean, if it's more than that, and this makes sense, I guess I've seen books that seem like, oh, there's so much reading, but you know,
that's what I mean, if you've ever tried to letter yourself, that is a lesson you'll learn immediately if you're writing it, because it's hard to fit that many, like way too many words in one balloon. It's just, you're covering the art, and
I found that like writing dialogue as well. I mean, in sci-fi, it's kind of hard because sometimes you want to explain something, but I also like sci-fi that's kind of ambiguous. Like, especially if you're in a story, you don't necessarily need to know how everything works, and especially with these guys, because they're like basically truckers in space.
Right.
Like logline for the book, 2 deep space truckers are haunted or / fed upon by a parasitic dark matter being,
life energy being. Sort of.
I've been watching Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast, trying to sort of fictionalize what those things are, and that's kind of fun to do, like theoretical.
That's good inspiration. Have you ever read the Interstellar textbook?
No.
Like the movie Interstellar? Do you like that movie?
Yeah,
it's awesome. And they consulted this physicist for the movie, specifically for that movie, to make sure that the scenes made physics sense. So they got the physics correct on that, except for like certain leaps of like what's behind a black hole, right? But definitely traveling across the black hole was real. So the physicist turned around.
Show off our ship right there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
great. Yeah, the physicist turned around and like wrote a whole textbook based on that research that he did for the movie.
I'll have to track that down.
Oh, it's so cool. It's like,
I love stuff like that.
I'm
also a Trekkie, and so I love like explaining things. I love the almost procedural sci-fi stuff. Like, tell me, give me the lecture. I want to know it.
Science / fiction.
Christopher Nolan's known for doing that. For Inception, for example, he used there's somebody who would whenever you dreamed, he'd scan your brain, and he had that guy like give a lecture on one of the commentaries for the DVD of Inception. So
that's cool.
He's known for doing that. Like, he tries to put at least some realism somewhere in there. I mean, so
isn't that Kirsten Dunst in what I almost said Close Encounters, with Jim Carrey,
number 23?
No. The one
Big
where
Liar.
They take the memories out of your
Eternal
girlfriend.
Sunshine.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah,
that's Kirsten Dunst's job, to scan your brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are we talking about?
Wait, why don't you stop your share?
Okay, I'll stop my share.
And I'll share my stop.
Oh,
Okay. So these are your main characters, Glurk and Bo.
yeah. Glurk is on the right there. He is from Europa.
Okay. Which is a
moon around
planet?
Jupiter.
Is it? Okay, a moon.
That's kind of
Thanks.
stolen from well, it's from a lot of things. Reality now, but
Was
like
he taken?
Space Odyssey.
Was he inspired by anyways by Smurfs?
I
Because
think
he
the
was
blue
blue.
was a design choice that came later on.
Okay, because he's blue, and instead of saying the word Smurf, he says the word Glurk. I'm like, based on
Yeah.
Smurfs.
That would be a good. That I wish.
Sort of
Okay.
looks like an Avatar guy too.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
Navi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess blue was a good choice to go with because born on an ice moon under the ocean. I don't know.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And then Bo is from Mars. Is that right?
Yeah, he was an IVF baby on Mars. So this kind of universe that we have, like one of our, like we're doing sort of like a corporate dystopia. It's like massive corporations and stuff, and like huge labor forces, and so they just have like a bunch of test tube babies, and that's what Bo is.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
That's like good deep backstory that like
that's what I
makes
do,
these
baby.
characters pop. Yeah, that's cool. And then you have like these little floating guys that just ask them if they're okay.
System.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the time, which is
System
funny
is this
because
great.
they're not okay ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they and the drones, they don't notice like any of the truly weird stuff going on. They're just kind of like, no, you're fine. Just stop freaking out.
Right. Right.
Pretty funny. Like we do have, there's comedy to it, and there's also a little bit of like, I don't know, get your kids out of the room, but there's like a little, they're like stoner comedy type stuff because it's sort of like a buddy comedy deal, and they're
Yeah.
smoking a whole bunch in the very beginning of this.
Yeah, they
comic.
smoke a lot of what? Space.
you have a commercial for it, so it should be somewhere down there, which I thought was a great. Like they talk about it, and then you get the commercial, or not the commercial,
There's the ad,
the ad
yeah.
for it.
Is it on the ash can? If not, I can.
What do they say? They're like, but they say they're getting space high or something.
Space baked, I think he says.
Space-
Maybe a little space.
As if they
space sick.
is that
baked.
because they're like in space, or
Yeah,
is that a specific type of a bake?
No, it's pure, just like referential. Like, hey, we all like sci-fi, right? This is funny.
Space sick, yeah.
Space baked, space sick. We actually had to dial it back. You know.
Yeah, because yeah, I agree. It was almost silly, but
We definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we do like having like silly comedy and stuff. So, you know, I just really like having sci-fi comedy horror. You know,
right.
they belong together.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it works really well in this comic too because you don't know if they're high or if they're like making it up or like if there is something bad.
Yeah. And Glurk is very innocent as well. You know, he's just kind of like, oh, what's happening? You know, and Bo is seasoned, and he may just sort of like Aragorn. He's probably like 80 something years old, but he looks pretty good.
Oh, cool.
You know, space, you would probably need to live longer just to do like anything worth anything like in space.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
because
mean?
it takes so long to get around.
And they do have faster, you know, this is set in a 31st century solar system. So they do have some sort of it's like I call it a gravity field generator So basically, they reverse reverse mass, and so they lower the mass of the ship, and so that the fusion engines like have more force to them.
That's awesome. Yeah, they phase out, right? Too, isn't that like
Yeah.
another? Yeah, that was
It's
cool.
the word. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably fudging all the
Your
real.
your techno babble was on point
Yeah,
in this
that's the-
comic.
yeah. I at least got a B in my physics courses for my basics. So
Nice. There you go.
Very solid.
take that to be what you will.
Well, I'm excited to see this released and have other people read it.
Yeah.
It's a really good comic.
Where can they find you at?
bgcomics.com is our main website. Let's see. We have our BG Comics Instagram. My Instagram is at TEE.es.k.
Stop. Say that again. At
TEE.es.k. I don't know. BG Comic Books is the real Instagram.
TESK. Okay.
Yeah.
But with those dots, or else you won't find them.
Is it?
Huh?
Is that how that works?
Yeah,
I don't want to
is.
be. I don't want to. I don't want the FBI to be after me or anything.
Well, the Instagram is very punctuation. They're like punctuation police. Yeah. So you have to have the dots.
Yeah. BG Comic Books, Glurk and Bo, or Glurk has a Twitter. I think it's Glurk and Bo Forever.
Okay.
Yeah, bgcomics.com is where we're going to put all of our releases and everything. We have like this 6th series for Glurk and Bo that we have planned. We have another monthly book that we're planning on doing after this. If we can get like our factory to work, we'd love to. Ben, I'm sure, wants to produce other people's stuff, like kind of figuring out how to use our system and help other people make their books faster.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I want to plug Global Comics.
Yeah, what is Global Comics? How is
they seem to be another like a creator help based group. Like they did some chats with us of how to market our book. And we they host our ash can that you showed there.
Yeah. And then ash can, what is an ash can?
It's a word that Ben used and I just assimilated the language.
Eric, have you heard of an ash can?
I've never heard of an ash can.
It may be more of like a radio television. Ben is a RTV guy. Okay. So it may be like or like post or what's a electronic press kit, EPK.
Oh, okay. All right.
Something like that. I don't know.
For our listeners and for Eric and for me, the ash can is a preview, a few page preview of the comic. It really makes you want to read the rest. And it's free on their website.
Yes.
But it's hosted by Global Comics with an X.com.
With an X.
Yeah.
And we're going to do print versions. We're going to have like posters and stickers and shirts, all kinds of swag. And so we're planning to like really do it. Yeah.
Awesome. That's so cool. Taylor, thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for the title to our podcast.
Oh, great.
Thanks for making me
write me in.
Yeah.
Well, your check's in the mail.
I would love to come back and like talk more formatting and whatnot, or just story and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Super fun.
Yeah, it was.
Super fun.
Well, yeah, we'll have to have you back after the release and talk about how it went. Or
have been on 2
for number 2.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks again to Taylor King for being a great guest.
Thanks, also, Taylor King.
Thank you, Taylor King. King.
It's Taylor King.
Kind.
No. And he's the writer of Bo and Glurk. Glurk and Bo. Glurk and Bo. And it's coming to Kickstarter this week. I mean, if you're listening to this week. And if you're listening in the future, go find it on Kickstarter. And if it's way too far in the future,
go find it on paper or online. Also, we have a shout out to Rachel W.
Why?
Because she has gone on patreon.com/dumbcomiccreators and signed up as our newest Patreon member.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
How cool.
Yeah. You
and
are
what's
queen.
She supporting? Anytime we post a comic, that's the 2-page Death Maze comics, the full issue comics that we make, any comics, we're going to put on our Patreon as paid posts, and our patrons help support those posts. That's all they support. It's not a monthly fee. It's not paying per post. It's just for the comics that we post, and only for comic content. And those are coming out of our pocket to make. So you're really helping support us when you sign up as a patron on our Patreon. So thank you so much, Rachel. Anyone who wants to hear their name on a podcast, please sign up.
Or if you don't want your name heard on podcast, just hey, you're on there. We'll do that as well. We accommodate for our Patreons.
Or if you want to hear someone else's name and you sign up for our Patreon and just tell us the name, tell us any name you want us to say, we'll say it. Or message.
We'll do messages. We'll do tweets. We'll do it all.
Yes. And if you sign up, you can be on our podcast as a special guest if you want to.
We're always looking to listen to you, our fans, and our comic and fellow comic creators. So,
Eric, did you read any comics this week?
I did read a comic this week. I read a comic called Chew.
Ooh.
Chew is...
Bless you.
Good insight. It was...
Chew CHEW?
Yeah, CHEW.
Okay, not your sneezing.
Okay.
No,
so it's because
chew.
It's not a chew. It's yum 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 yum.
Okay. So what's it about?
It is so it was written and lettered by John Layman, and it was drawn and colored by Rob Gilroy. Okay, so it's written by John Layman and illustrated by Rob Gilroy.
Okay.
So what Chew is about is it follows Detective Agent Chew, who is a cybopathic person, which means anything he eats other than beets, he gets the complete history of based on whenever he eats it. So if he eats like a cow, he gets like what it was called in its life, where it grew up, what it did, how it was killed, and everything, including how it was treated afterwards. So like how it got turned into anything like that too. So he has difficulty eating anything that wasn't like that isn't a beet, just because it's kind of nauseating for him. But that also makes him a great detective though too, because he can get the history of anything. So for example, he finds a murderer, and the murderer kills himself beforehand. He tells him that there's missing persons. So by like drinking the blood of the person, he is able to get all the information like of who, like where the killers were or where the victims are, names of the victims, and all the stuff that he needs to do that.
So he drinks the blood of a murderer.
So he is in this story. He goes after he finds a serial killer, and the serial killer is like, "I'm not going back to jail." And before he can answer anything, he slits his own throat. And so he's like, "Oh, you're going to tell me your secrets," and starts eating his face. And so he gets the names of all the victims, everything like that, though, too. Only problem, though, is he gets caught by his fellow police officers, eating the face of a serial killer, and they're like, "Yeah, that's really crazy. You can't do that."
Oh my god, that's like the weirdest setup ever.
Yeah,
And he
but
eats beets. He only eats beets.
he only eats beets because that's the only thing that doesn't give him a history or anything. It's the only thing he can eat without feeling crazy, like without like just doing the history or everything. But he impresses the FDA so much. Instead of going to jail or going to a psych ward, he gets hired by the FDA. In this storyline, the FDA has become the biggest government branch because all poultry has been banned worldwide because there was a huge bird flu that was so deadly that if anybody's caught eating chicken, they are very likely to die.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, but are people still illegally eating chicken?
Yes, that's why the FDA has become the biggest branch because there's a giant underground chicken market.
So they're really trying to crack down on these chicken eaters.
Yep, it's a major thing.
That's so stupid and silly.
Yeah, and what's great though too is his brother is considered to be the best chicken cook of all time. But
what?
That's because he can no longer cook with chicken.
Oh my god. So beyond the completely ridiculous and upsetting story, upsetting in just how ridiculous it is. I mean, what about the art?
The art is fantastic. It's like a combination of Marvel and unrealistic. So like if you look at it, like you just even see like this part where they show one of the characters drinking the blood from a finger. Like his face is not realistic at all, but it's drawn such that it's kind of proportioned that looks really, really cool.
He looks sort of like a Muppet to me.
Yeah, it's kind of I guess what you kind of think. So just a really, really well done art. Just fantastically done.
Like they're made of clay almost too. Like molded.
I would not be surprised if they would not animate this into a show. They would claymation it because it looks better. Like it's a claymation thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
What about the coloring?
Coloring is actually very vivid. It depends on where it is. So like a lot of times, like in certain aspects, like when their emotions, like he's in a dark place, it's darker. But especially in Chew number 2, when he's in the tropics, it's a lot more colorful. Like he's doing that too. But also like it also depends what he's doing it. So in this case, if this part, there's a vampire.
Oh, okay.
He's also a psychopath, but he makes himself look like a vampire to scare people. And it's done in red. It's like the base color instead of like everything else.
So it's kind of serving the story.
Yes.
The color. Okay.
But yeah, so it's done. It's just done really well in general. So
great. And what about the lettering?
Lettering is Marvel Plus is how I describe it. They will they keep all the basic generals the same. Whenever they've got the actions, they'll do the kapows, the craziness. They'll also like bold out specific words. So how, like, so for example, one guy says, "How does it sound to you?" And the "you" is bolded out.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So it's like expressive, sort of.
Yeah, expressive, very good.
Kind of standard still. So Eric, what about the French word that we often mention on here?
The je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, the je ne sais quoi.
This comic is just kind of so off the wall that it's kind of has like this crazy thing. So, in the 3rd issue, not the 2nd issue, they have a cyborg chicken, or they have a chicken that's like a country literally goes to the Civil War over because it's the best like cockfighter there is ever. So like the country goes to Civil War to have ownership of it, and the side it chooses to fight on literally wins the war. It wins the war by itself. Like it goes into the middle of army base camp, just jumps in there and kills everyone. So it's so powerful. So you just have like this crazy off the wall stuff that like I don't know where this is going. I don't think anybody does, but it's great.
Wow. That's so weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like choose the characters, choose girlfriend. Like her power is that she's such a good writer that people feel like and taste like that people can feel and taste whatever she writes. So like she eats rancid meat,
Wait, so everyone has a power in this world?
Not everyone. The majority of people don't actually. Just like the
Oh,
major
okay.
characters. So like, Ace Venture's partner is a cyborg. His girlfriend's got the powers that like whatever she writes, he can feel like he's tasting it because it's that accurate, which is perfect for him because he doesn't actually have to. If he eats something that makes him like that would normally give him the history or whatever, it doesn't give him the history when she doesn't. So she can
Okay.
eat something and then tell him about it. So he's like, so he can finally experience eating food normally without having to go crazy.
I see. Cool. So, Eric, on a scale
Mhm.
between being constantly molded by like a group of high school, like it's their class project to like form your body into different shapes constantly, just for like a whole semester. And the more times they morph your body into a new shape, like you're a piece of clay, the better their grade gets. So from that to having as many beats as you want for the rest of your life. Which one is the bad one? I don't even know. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know. I would say having as many beats as you want in your life is the good one, because if you want 0 beats, you can have 0 beats. But if you want 20 beats, you can have 20 beats. So that's a good one.
So you like beats?
I think beats are all right. I prefer carrots over beets.
Okay, so having as many carrots and beets as you want.
Okay. I would say this is being forced to eat broccoli along with the carrots and beets.
Oh wow.
So mostly good, but there's a little bit of like crazy crap that you have to kind of take along with it.
Yeah.
Like so, like there's like so like they kind of like go down weird rabbit holes, and you have to kind of let it go there. But eventually you get back and you find some of the good stuff.
I see. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds like a really weird, wild ride.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it was a great read. I recommend it for anybody. Are you going to be reading a comic next week, Keegan?
I sure will be.
Awesome.
I don't know what yet, but we might review the comic that Taylor talked about on this episode.
That's also another possibility. In case we'll both give it our 2 cents.
Yeah. So once again, bgcomics.com. Our guest today was Taylor King. Thank you so much, Taylor, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Taylor.
We're Dumb Comic Creators. You can find us on Instagram at Dumb Comic Creators.
You can find us on our website, dumbcomiccreators.com. You can find us on our Patreon, patreon.com/dumbcomiccreators. Thank you to our new Patreon, Richelle W.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And please support us. And otherwise,
we still need a catchphrase.
Yeah, we do. We didn't even come close to a catchphrase because our guest interrupted and gave us a title. Not our guest interrupted. He just mentioned that he had a catchphrase before we started recording, and I said, "Sounds good to me. Why don't you give it a shot?" And lo and behold, he gave us
I was all for it. I was all for it.
It wasn't a catchphrase.
Wow. Comedy and literary gold. I don't know if we
gave us a title of our show.
It was the title of our show.
It was the title of our show with the podcast part at the beginning. Dumb Comic Creators. Yeah, that is the title of our show. So anyway, it's an interesting title phrase, like a fun way to say the title of our show.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I don't think we need it.
We'll find one.
I think we should save our money for comic book stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eric, this has been fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to you soon.
Right. Bye.
Bye.